forever. And then it was 16 games. And now it's 17 games. And so this league now is about pacing. It's about attrition. It's about many teams get good after a mid to late season bye. So if you go to the last 3 seasons, those are the 3 years when the NFL has had 17 games. And the winners of the Super Bowl are Kansas City, and the Rams. And they all got really good late, and they struggled at some point early or in the middle of the season. So again, Detroit won September and October. They are falling apart. I think they're the 3rd best team in their division this morning. I think Green Bay's better this morning, healthier and better. I think Minnesota right now, this second, is better slightly. Detroit is beat up. The defense is a mess. They can only win by shootout now. Dan Campbell, I think, is getting a little edgier and riskier because he knows he can't make stops. That onside kick call, that's just desperation. You're not doing that if you trust your defense. And it's like a major in golf. You don't win majors on Thursday and Friday. You win them on the weekends, often on Sunday. September and October are not winning this league. If you go to last year, who got hot late? Packers, Lions, Rams, Chiefs. So it is about timing. As we've expanded this season, it's not like this in college football. In the NFL, the margins are tight. And Detroit early looked like Alabama was Saban. They were blowing teams out. Remember, who did this last year? Who got hot last year early to mid? It was Baltimore. Kansas City got hot late. Okay? This year, Detroit hot early. Go look at their injury list. It's insane. And I think it's changing the perception of the staff that they know they have to take more risks. Offensively, defensively, special teams. So this is a December and January league, and I don't think Detroit right now, I think they got multiple issues, and Dan Campbell's answer is, we got to be tougher. He was on local radio.
You win 11 in a row, and you lose, and then the sky falls. You get used to eating filet, and I'm talking to all of us. And everything's good, life's good, but you forgot what it was like when you had nothing, and sometimes you got to get punched in the mouth and remember what it used to be like to really appreciate where you are. And we'll do that, I promise you. If it's the other way defensively, we give up 700 yards and we win by 1 point.
Okay, I appreciate the alpha, but the truth is they got backups playing everywhere. And if you face Josh Allen or Green Bay's offense, or now Minnesota's offense, or the Rams' offense, and you're using backups, they're backups for a reason. I mean, I love Dan Campbell, but the answer is not always try harder, be tougher. They're running out of players. There's a reason there's guys that are backups or on the scout team. They're just not as good.
Yes, listen, I understand. I don't think that there's necessarily panic. There's concern and an understanding that the offense is going to have to hold more weight for this team. I get that. So they're going to have to do even more. But I don't think this has to this doesn't have to degrade into just this all-out panic. This is awful. And also, Colin just said that he thinks that they're the 3rd best team in the division. And although he has the Vikings and the Packers higher, he still has the Lions ahead of the Vikings on his herd hierarchy. So I'm a little confused. And I mean, obviously he has the Rams, the Bills, the Packers, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Eagles. And again, I understand these injuries, and they are real. The Lions are obviously not as good as they were when all those guys are healthy. That's obvious. Again, you could be the biggest Lions fan. That is an acknowledgement. But I don't think we have to go to this extreme fall from grace now. I don't think the sky does need to fall, as Dan Campbell put it. And so I'm curious to see what they can do, how their approach is defensively, because they had a lot of injuries on defense, and yet they held their own against Green Bay. I understand they didn't hold their own defensively against Josh Allen. That's Josh Allen. That is the Josh Allen. I mean, look at what Josh Allen did against the Rams. He took them apart, had a literal historic game. And yet, no one's saying that the Rams are. Even Colin himself doesn't think that the Rams are falling apart, that the sky is falling. So I just kind of disagree. Now, I think that the Lions will probably have to be even more aggressive than they have in the past. And I get that. Totally. 100%. And I think that we'll have to wait and see. To see can their offense, especially even being extra aggressive and really trying to get touchdown after touchdown instead of punts and field goals, then see if that can overcome it. And what can they do again defensively from a coaching standpoint and a schematic standpoint? Will they still be able to slow down teams like the Packers, which we've kind of seen them already do, like the Vikings, like the Eagles? Time will tell. I just don't know if we have to be like, I think people are going to try to be so quick. It's funny. People were so late to pick the Lions as the top team in the NFL. And now that people started to finally buy in on them because like they had to, right? It's impossible to not when they were winning as consistently and in the way that they were. Now everybody wants to be the first ones to abandon them. And I don't think that's the solution either. That's not the right move either. Again, having concerns makes 100% sense. And if you're a huge fan, you should be like, yeah, you're uncomfortable now. You should be more uncomfortable today than you were a couple weeks ago. That's the unfortunate reality, and that is such a bummer. I have had too many times throughout my years as watching sports when you see injuries and whatnot derail the season that it really makes you just want to not be a fan anymore. You're really just like, why am I going to do this? And I actually have legitimate PTSD. I'm not even lying. I'm not even exaggerating. When I watch these games and I see players like almost every tackle, every hit, I'm like, please don't be hurt. Please don't be hurt. Like it's actually annoying. It takes away from my own enjoyment. No matter who I'm watching, whether it's Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Amon-Ra St. Brown, I mean, like anyone. I see a tackle and I'm like, oh my God. I just know that you're just one play away from being down. And it's irritating. Whether I'm watching basketball, I watch Steph Curry hit the deck and I'm like, please, you're okay, right? And it's obnoxious. Because I again, maybe it's because I've also been injured so many times, so I know that in a blink of the eye, 1 minute I'm like, hey, everything's good. The next minute I'm literally laying in a hospital bed, waking up from anesthesia, being all confused and in tremendous amount of pain. And my stomach also gets wrecked from anesthesia. And then it's like, then I'm in the hospital for even longer, and it's like, see, I'm literally having flashbacks. That was like an authentic reaction. So I get it. And so again, as a fan, it's just like, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. We need some like Rick and Morty tech where we can like have all these players play these games like in a all-encompassing bubble, so like for whatever reason no one gets hurt. That's what we need. Or if you get hurt, you can immediately just like fix it in a second. It's just it's frustrating, and it's a real thing. But I just don't think we have to just immediately be like, the Lions are done. They're done. And you know what? I understand what Colin's saying of like, hey, you need more than just like alphaness. I get that, and you obviously do. But actually, this is what this team needs more than anything right now. Is that energy to be like, hey, this is not over. Stop it. Yeah, I know everything was great when we were winning. And now that we had a couple, we had a couple tough games and we lose a game. Now everyone wants to be like, hey, we're done. We don't have the defense. All these injuries. Nah, man. Like, you need that intensity. That's also how a lot of times you elevate some of these practice squad or just not starters. Those guys, for the most part, know what needs to be done. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just don't have it. They don't have the talent. They don't have the work ethic. Like it's a collection of so many different things why someone doesn't get to that next level. At the source of it, they just don't have it. Seriously, at the end of the day, it's like they just don't have it. The NFL is littered with people who have worked so hard, know every single thing, every single route, every little thing that they need to do. But they just can't. They just don't have it. It does get reduced to a binary. They just don't have it, or their body actually just can't maintain it. Like they can't bounce back and recover as fast as some of these other players. That's why Patrick Mahomes can hurt his ankle, look like he can't walk, but just the dude's been blessed with genetics that like his body starts healing like in a second, and it's like before you know it, he's like, yeah, I'm fine. Whereas you or I do that, and it's like, I'm down for the count for, a really long time. Like, it is. You just either got it or you don't. And some of those players that are on the fringe of either making a team or being a starter, sometimes in the short term, they just do need that belief. Because for a short window of time, they can play above who they are. They can't sustain it. They can't consistently do it. They maybe can't do it throughout an entire game or for an entire season. But can they do it for a 3, 4, 5 game stretch? Absolutely. We again, the perfect example of this will always be the backup quarterback. We have way too many examples of random backup quarterbacks stepping up and balling out for like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. We've seen it again and again and again. We got Gardner Minshew. We got Fitzpatrick. We got Nick Foles. I mean, that's just in the last like 5 years alone or so. My memory, I can't remember all the backup quarterbacks that played, in 1997. But we've seen this so many different times. We've seen running backs, corners, O-line, like we've seen it. Now, again, you're now asking for a lot of these players to be able to rise to the occasion, which is why I'm trying to say it is not an easy feat by no stretch of the imagination. But it is in the realm of the possibility, and that offense, and again, the big problem is losing some offensive weapons. But the offense itself, it's like, okay, let's see what they can do. Can they overcome some of these defensive issues? So it's going to be interesting, honestly. I don't have this 100% direct concrete answer. I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Oh my god, the Lions are clearly still a top 3 team." Like, I'm not going to say that cuz I have no idea. And I'm certainly not going to be like, "It's over. The Detroit Lions, sorry. Better luck next year. They're not even a top 10 team. They can't even beat the Bucs or the Broncos." Like, I'm not going to say that either. This is the definition of we got to just wait and see. But to be like that they don't have belief in their team anymore, or that the sky is actually falling, I just think, again, so many takes recently over these last couple of days. And I know we already have some pretty extreme takes throughout the season, just in sports talk in general. But I don't know what's in the water right now. I don't know if it's because everyone feels the holidays coming or because the views are down. I don't know if you guys know this, but at least to my experience, it feels like views come out the gate come time September. It's like, oh my God, this is crazy because everyone's so excited. Optimism is through the roof, right? You just don't know what this year is going to look like. So everyone's watching September, October, November. People are feeling it. And then I think the holiday season in December, now teams start to drop off. People start to lose hope in their team, right? Once upon a time, everybody wanted to watch 49ers videos. Now, 49ers fans are already checking out. They're like, this season's over. I'm doing something else with my life, And I think, I don't know. And that's why we're getting these, more extreme swing takes. And again, this isn't anything I call them. This is just in general. This is just my observation of just everything that I've been experiencing watching all these clips. But it just feels like, I don't know. This past Monday and Tuesday have just been really, really just very, I can't put my finger on it. I just, because I feel it in myself. I feel like myself, I'm just like, my brain is working overload to have to try to decipher what I'm hearing. But yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. That is the conclusion of this video. It's just, we have to find out, which I know is just like it's not as fun of an answer of saying, we'll be okay, we got this, stop doubting us, or saying, nope, sorry, the season's over, better luck next year. I know a lot of people want to have that take or the other take. And so it's just an unfun answer to be like, we just got to wait and see. Because who wants to listen to someone talk on YouTube for 15 minutes or on a TV show, be like, yeah, I don't know, we just got to wait and see. But that's the answer. That's the actual answer. We just got to wait and see. And I think it would be silly to just automatically count out the Lions. But it would also be silly to not have questions about them as well. That's why both of these things can be true. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Detroit Lions? Do you have concerns? Do you think the season's already over? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.